Just around 4 days remain before incumbent Chief Justice Hari Krishna Karke retires based on age limit. The Constitutional Council, meanwhile, has yet to decide on the candidate it wants to recommend for the post that is going to be vacant from Sunday coming week. Given the delay, it is certain that the judiciary will once again be led by acting Chief Justice until the appointment of new CJ is finalized. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Nepali Congress Provincial Assembly Leader for Koshi Province, Uddhav Thapa, appointed Chief Minister, garnering majority 47 votes as Speaker Baburam Gautam resigns to lend support. Businesses hike the prices of rice following India's announcement of halting rice export. Government remains indifferent on taking action. Taliban and US hold first official talks since Afghanistan takeover. The two-day talks in Qatar's capital focusing on economy, human rights and narcotics trafficking. And defending champions USA enters into the knockout stage of Women's World Cup. So do England, the Netherlands and Denmark. The journey, however, ends for China and Portugal. Nepali Congress's Provincial Assembly Leader for Koshi Province, Uddhav Thapa, has been appointed the province's Chief Minister for the second time, having garnered the required majority 47 votes from the Provincial Assembly. Earlier, Speaker Baburam Gautam had resigned from his post to lend support to the ruling coalition. Thapa will now have to take the vote of confidence within 30 days as per constitutional requirement. However, political analysts say it is highly likely that Thapa's government would only last for 30 days as Rashtra Prajatantra Party, whose support Thapa will need during the floor test, has clarified it will stay in the opposition. Meanwhile, Maoist Centre has claimed Thapa will clear the floor test, saying that it has 47 votes in its favour. Any candidate at the 93-member Provincial Assembly needs at least 47 votes for majority. Nepali Congress of Ruling Alliance has 29 members. CPN Maoist Centre has 13. Now that Speaker Baburam Gautam has resigned, CPN Unified Socialist has 4 and Janata Samajwadi 1, while opposition CPN UML has 40 and Rashtra Prajatantra Party has 6. Gautam's resignation played the crucial part in Thapa's appointment, and it has been said that Gautam will be given a ministerial portfolio. The meeting of the Constitutional Council held this afternoon to dwell on the potential candidate to lead the judiciary has ended inconclusive. Incumbent Chief Justice Hari Krishna Karke is to retire on 5th of August this month based on age limit. The next meeting of the council has been scheduled for 5 p.m. this Thursday. Based on constitutional provisions, the council is required to recommend the candidate 1 month prior to the retirement of incumbent CJ. However, as the council for various reasons failed to do so, the judiciary is likely to be led by an acting CJ, considering the parliamentary hearing process that will still be due. Based on seniority of the 14 justices at the Supreme Court, experts say Justice Bishwambar Prasad Shrestha is the senior most and the likely candidate the council could recommend for the post. The government has announced it will provide free vaccines against the lumpy skin disease that has affected majority of the livestock farmers. Government spokesperson Rekha Sharma said that the meeting of the Council of Ministers held earlier today has directed the Ministry for Agriculture and Livestock Development to prepare a proposal to provide compensation to livestock farmers that have been affected by the epidemic. The meeting also has approved presenting the bill related to federal education at the Parliament and has approved Regulation 2080 related to advertisement monitoring. The meeting has also decided to approve grant worth 202.2 million rupees under the Global Environment Facility. Now, the session of the House of Representatives called for today has been adjourned till 7th of August. This comes after the Parliament's Work Management Committee failed to facilitate for a consensus between ruling side and main opposition CPN UML, which has been adamant on its demand for the formation of a high-level committee to probe into the recent gold scandal. During the meeting held earlier today, representatives from CPN UML said the party's lawmakers will continue to obstruct the Parliament session until a committee was formed. Following the meeting, the lawmakers from ruling parties unwilling to form such committee had suggested for postponing this session. Ruling parties are of the opinion that another committee was unnecessary considering the ongoing investigation by state mechanism. Of the 3 previous sessions, CPN UML had obstructed 1, while 2 sessions had been adjourned considering UML's stance on not letting the sessions resume until the demands were met. Earlier in the morning today, Speaker Devraj Khimire had held consultations with Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal and CPN UML Chair KP Sharma Oli. According to Parliament Secretariat, Speaker Kimire has been drawing concerned leaders' attention towards the delay in addressing the plight of the public amid continued parliamentary obstructions. Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport Management Prakash Jwala has said his ministry alone cannot handle the management of natural disasters during monsoon season. Speaking at the meeting of the Federal Parliament's Development and Technology Committee, where members of the committee urged the government to learn from the recent Samakhushi incident, where a boy went missing after being swept away by flash flood in a local stream, calling for the management of drainage systems, Minister Jwala said it was not the sole responsibility of the ministry to look after natural disasters. He added that all relevant units needed to coordinate in this regard. The minister, however, clarified that his ministry was well aware to ensure no untoward incidents occur in the bridges and roads that the ministry directly looks after. Businesses have arbitrarily hiked the prices of rice in the pretext of India's decision to halt exporting all kinds of rice except basmati. The government has meanwhile remained a mere spectator to the price hike that consumers are having to bear the brunt of. Producers and distributors of lentils, rice, grains, oil and sugar had assured to the Department of Commerce, Supplies and Consumer Protection they would not increase the prices of items that have already been sent to the market. However, around 200 to 300 rupees have been increased per sack of rice based on the department's recent monitoring. Nepal imports majority of rice from India, following the southern neighbor's decision to halt export of rice as it anticipates a reduction in production in near future. The Ministry for Industry, Commerce and Supplies and the department has started keeping deposits of food items. Businesses say they have a balance to sustain supply for 2 months, while Food Management and Trading Company has 186,927 metric tons of paddy and rice in store. However, in regards to the price hike, consumer rights activists have said that the government has failed to regulate the supply chain. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we asked you what's your take on the demand for the formation of a high-level committee to probe the gold smuggling scam. Your options, in fact, 28% voted for option A, a positive initiative, 8% for B, present probe is enough, and 64% for C, a ploy to dilly-dally. And here's today's question. What's your take on business persons increasing the price of rice in the pretext of India's decision to stop rice export? Your options are A, high-handedness of business persons, B, lack of monitoring, and C, result of dependency on imports. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked farmers in all 7 provinces if they have faced issues accessing chemical fertilizers. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
युरिया खादको लागि कतिचोटि जानु परेछ 3 चोटि 4 चोटि तर पनि पाइरा छैन
नेपालमा दिदैन सरकारले त कहाँबाट ल्याउँछ मल त इन्डियाबाट जसरी होस् मान्छे त गरिहाल्छ खेती
सरकारले पनि हो बेलामा दिन्छु अब बेला भइसकेपछि पनि दिदैन अब किसान चाहिँ त्यतिकै गयो
खादमलको समस्या छ सरकारले हामी किसानहरूलाई मद्दत गर्दिनु पर्ने
विगत वर्षमा जति असहज थियो यसपालि त्यस्तो असहज महसुस भएन सहजै प्राप्त भयो
2-4 किलो मल पाउनको लागि पनि घण्टौ लाइनसम्म उभिनु पर्छ
जति सजिलै सहज रूपमा किसानहरूले पाउनु पर्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ नभएको देखिन्छ
भित्रभित्रै के अरे कर्मचारीहरू तालमेल मिलायो लपका खायो कृषकले कहाँ पाएको छ र
स्थानीय सरकारहरूले पनि ध्यान आकर्षण गरिरहेको छैन यसमा धेरै उसके मल खाद्यहरू पनि व्यवस्था भइरहेको छैन समयमै
भनेको बेला पाइँदैन लाइन बस्नु पर्छ भाउ धेरै हुन्छ
लाइन बस्नु पर्छ कहिले अब 3-4 दिन पछि मलको अभाव छ भन्छ देखाउँछ कहिले पाउँदैन
विगत वर्षको जस्तो त्यस्तो अभावै छैन
धान रोप्न चाहिँ अब मल चाहिँ राम्रो गरी पाइयो
जति किसानहरूले पाउनु पर्ने हो चाहिनु पर्ने किसानहरूलाई त्यति पर्याप्त मात्रामा छैन
30 रुपैयाँ किलोले ल्याइयो अनि त्यो पनि नागरिकता 5 वटा नागरिकता राखेर
न सिँचाइ न खाद्य डीएपी यो सबै मलहरू पनि उपलब्ध छैन
चाहिने जतिको मल या सिँचाइका सुविधाहरू अहिले सरकारले यहाँ स्थानीय सरकारहरूदेखि लिएर प्रशासन त्यो कुनै किसिमको त्यस्तो व्यवस्था हुन सकेको छैन
The Anti-Human Trafficking Bureau of Nepal Police has received at least 26 applications regarding trafficking of Nepali youths to Thailand and neighboring regions in the name of employment in recent time. According to the Bureau, one Nepali and one Chinese national has been arrested who have been alleged of taking Nepali youths on visit visa and keeping them hostage. In light of the development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs has urged all concerned to ensure they have taken labor permit before embarking on their journeys for foreign employment. The Bureau received 157 cases of human trafficking in the Nepalese fiscal year 2079-80. The Nepal Oil Corporation has revised the prices for petroleum products effective from midnight tonight. The corporation has raised the prices for petrol by 9 rupees per litre, diesel and kerosene by 7 rupees per litre each, while reduced the price for LPG by 130 rupees. In Biratnagar, Janakpur, Amlekganj, Bhalbari, Nepalganj and Dhangari, the rate for petrol starting midnight tonight will be 170 rupees 50 paisa per litre and diesel and kerosene 150 rupees 50 paisa per litre each. In Surkhet and Dang, consumers will have to pay 172 rupees per litre for petrol and 152 rupees per litre for diesel and kerosene each. In Kathmandu, Pokhara and Dipail, the cost for petrol will be 173 rupees per litre and diesel and kerosene will be 153 rupees per litre. Meanwhile, the price for LPG has been revised to 1660 rupees per cylinder. Let's move on to the international update. Taliban leaders have met officials from the United States in Qatar for the first time since their return to power in Afghanistan 2 years ago. A spokesman for the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the two sides discussed confidence-building measures during their two-day talks, including the lifting of sanctions and travel bans, as well as the return of Afghan central bank assets held abroad. The delegations also discussed combating narcotics and human rights issues. No country has formally recognized the Taliban since its return to power. The group took over in August 2021 as Afghanistan's Western-backed government collapsed in the aftermath of the US's chaotic withdrawal from the country after 20 years of conflict. Since their takeover, the Taliban has faced international condemnation, including from several Muslim-majority countries, over restrictions the group has imposed on women's education. Afghanistan is also grappling with a humanitarian crisis, with almost half of its population, which is 23 million, receiving assistance from the World Food Programme last year. The U.S. State Department said in a statement that its official told the Taliban that Washington was open to technical talks on economic stability and repeated concerns about deteriorating human rights in the country. Officials also called anew on the Taliban to reverse bans on girls' secondary education and women's employment, as well as for the release of detained Americans. The United States froze about $7 billion in Afghan central bank funds held in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York after the Taliban took power.
Sports news.
A preliminary national squad to play the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Asia qualifiers has been announced, as 6 new players have been included this time. Former skipper Neri Thapa has also made a comeback. Neri had last played the national team in 2019. The Cricket Association of Nepal can release the names of 24 cricketers today. List of the players to debut for the national team include Khushi Dangol, Kanchan Shrestha, Pooja Mahato, Ruby Podar, Manisha Chaudhary and Sneha Mahara. Likewise, the squad also includes Rubina Chetri, Sita Rana Magar, Indu Verma, Kavita Kuar, Kavita Joshi, Ashmina Karmacharya, Kritika Marasini, Bindu Rawal, Apsari Begum, Kajal Shrestha, Samjana Khadka and Ishwari Bista. The first round closed camp training will also include Jyoti Pandey, Saraswati Chaudhary, Sabnam Rai, Roma Thapa and Srishti Jaisi. Nepal is in Group A of the Asia qualifiers along with organizers Malaysia, Bahrain, Bhutan, Qatar and UAE. Group B has Thailand, Hong Kong, China, Kuwait and Myanmar. The two teams that reaches the final of the qualifiers from Asia will book a place in the global qualifiers. CAN has also been doing legworks to contract a batting coach from India as preparation for the qualifiers. The batting coach is expected to arrive on Friday and the training is to begin from Saturday. The ICC Women's T20 World Cup Asia qualifiers has been scheduled between 31st of August to 9th of September. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.